Well, greetings and salutations, Series 24 test takers. This is Dean Tenney coming to you from my off-grid studio, getting our kicks on historic Route 66. Just finished a 24 tutoring session, and these were some of the problems. This is the first of several problems I'll be explicating that we went over, and I thought I'd share them with you. Let's get going here. The inside market is 1720, 1750. So you should definitely, as a 24 or 57 test taker, I'll put this in both playlists, know that that's the highest bid and the lowest ask. It says market maker's X quote is at the inside market. So that means as a market maker, this is the biggest thing I would want you to take away is when people are struggling sometimes on 24 or 57, it's because they're outside looking in instead of inside looking out, looking at the quote from the market maker's perspective, right? So this means I'm willing to buy the stock into my inventory at 1720. I'm willing to sell this out of my inventory at 1730. And there's a conflict of interest when I'm trading against customer order flow, right? I mean, we have opposite interests. The way I think about it is usually when the customer is looking at two prices, a high price and a low price, the customer pays the high price, the customer receives the low price. What's that called? The securities industry. The way I think of it with a market order is the customer's on the opposite side of the quote, right? So that's important, and that's kind of where we're at. Market orders and limit orders. All right, onward with the question. Market maker X accepts a customer buy limit for 500 shares at 1730. Now, in a limit order, here they're kind, by the way. They tell you it's a buy limit, but on the test, they're under no obligation to tell you that's a buy limit. They could have just as easily said the customer wants to buy 500 shares at 1730, and then it's up to you to figure out that that is a limit order. Now, with limit orders, the customer is on the same side as I am. So right now, this customer is kind of jamming me up a little bit because he wants to pay 1730 for the stock, and I only want to pay 1720. So now what I got to do is compare my customer's buy limit to my quote. And I say he's willing to pay more than I am, right? So if this was an update the display question, I would update my display to show that to the market. You know, and unfortunately on 24, particularly in 57, you have to believe in the human depravity and original sin. And what I'd like to do is when I simultaneously receive the market order to sell, now remember, customer sell is going to be on that opposite side. What I'd like to do is buy it at 1720 and then fill the customer limit at 1730. And, you know, I make a dime without working for a living, right? Hence the limit order protection rules. So here, hold both orders pending review? Absolutely not. What does crossing the stock mean? Crossing the stock means I have a buyer and a seller, and I just take care of both of these people, right? I have a customer wants to buy at 1730, customer wants to sell. I just match them up. He gets 10 cents more than he otherwise would, right? And pays a little less than that. So here it says simultaneously I receive market order. So here, cross the stock at 1730. Yeah. You know, I sell the customer, hey, you just sold 500 shares at 1730, and the customer, the buy limit, bought it. Boom, I'm done. By the way, I'm acting in dual agency there. So, you know, I'm representing two parties in one trade, and that would be disclosed as well. Execute the customer sale only? No. Do a riskless arbitrage for a 10-cent profit? Absolutely not, right? Because that would be taking advantage of that customer's limit order. Hence the rule, either because that's what we used to do prior to the reforms. Right? Prior to the reforms, I would pretend I don't have that customer buy limit at 1730, right? So, you know, I want to take that dime. All right, so I hope that was helpful. Let's just review again. Usually, when people struggle on 24, you know, if I teach in like a 20-person class, I expect everybody to pass. But when I lose somebody, it's usually a packaged product person who, you know, has been in the mutual fund arena for many, many years and probably doesn't have a handle on investment banking, perhaps, and trading. All right, the inside market of a stock is 1720, 1750. That's the highest bid and the lowest ask. Market maker X, I just think that's me. I'm at the inside market, meaning I'm willing to buy into inventory at 1720. I'm willing to sell out of inventory at 1750. And then on customer market order, be on the opposite side. So without any complications here, if I'm the trader and the customer wants to buy, he pays 1750. Customer wants to sell, he gets 1720. So the complication comes when there's a limit order, because we have limit order protection rules. And there I got to see if the customer's price is the same or better than mine, because if so, I have a Manning obligation. Mr. Manning is the guy who filed a class action lawsuit against NASDAQ for shenanigans that we're discussing here. And as a result of those, we now have all kinds of rules. One of them is the limit order protection rule named after Mr. Manning. Anyways, customer has a buy limit for 500 shares at 1730. So the first thing I want to do is look at that customer's limit order and say, okay, he's on the same side as I am now. And I want to see if his price is the same or better than mine. So I want to buy at 1720. Customer wants to buy at 1730. So he's willing to pay more for the stock than I am. That benefits sellers by getting them a better price. Okay, so now I say, okay, I got simultaneously, I got the market order. This is called price improvement. This limit order is going to give the seller at the market price improvement. So simultaneously, I receive the market order to sell. Market order to sell is going to be on the opposite side there. And usually I would buy it into my inventory at 1720, but that would be not, that would be a prohibited practice because somebody is willing to pay more than I, 10 cents more. So no, I don't do a riskless arbitrage for 10 cents. I do a customer cross. That's called dual agency. I just match the buyer and the seller. Yeah, by the way, I probably take commission on both sides and disclose that. I hope that was helpful. Remember, inch by inch, your 24 is a cinch, yard by yard, your 24 is hard. And I got a couple more of these we did in the tutoring session. I'll be putting them out each day. I was going to do a whole 30-minute kind of thing, but I think I'll just dole them out one at a time. Bye-bye.